Well, hello there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Dodgy Gamer here, and I'm here with a guide for you for clubs you might want to manage in Football Manager 2021. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you might already be suspecting that this won't be your usual guide to clubs. I tend to go for more obscure clubs. I've managed like unknown mid-table teams in Turkey. I've managed minnow nations from around the world. I've taken a team like FC Andorra up from the lower reaches of the Spanish league. So we're going to go today for 6 obscure clubs that you might want to manage. Now, they may be clubs you've heard of before, they may be clubs you haven't heard of before, they may be obscure for reasons of their history or lack of it, because of their location, because of something else, but all interesting clubs that have caught my eye and I thought you might like to take a look at. So for club number 1, we're going to start at a country I've already mentioned, Turkey. The club is Altınordu, the Golden Army. This is a team from Izmir, Turkey's 3rd largest city, but not a city with a great footballing pedigree in terms of top flight teams. Altınordu were founded in 1923, the same year as the Turkish Republic itself. But they've spent much of their history bouncing around in the lower leagues. They did have a brief period in the top flight in the 1960s, but apart from that, they've been down in the 2nd and 3rd tier and even lower on a couple of occasions. What's interesting though about Altınordu is in a time when a lot of Turkish clubs have literally bust themselves to bring in foreign players, Altınordu over the last few seasons have made a deliberate focus on youth. Taking Athletic Bilbao as a model, they've invested a considerable amount of money in youth facilities, and they currently coach somewhere in the region of, I think, 5,000 children and teenagers from the local area. And the club itself has a stated aim of being one of the first clubs to get into the top flight of the Turkish Super League and field a team of entirely homegrown players. So with their 100th anniversary fast approaching, can you help them take that step from the First League into the Super League and help them achieve that dream of fielding an entirely local team? Now, have you ever found yourself confusing Football Manager with the real world? That's kind of what happened to me with our second club. Many years ago, I had quite an enjoyable save in Mexico with a team called Estudiantes Santander. Over time, I took them up to the top flight. We became Mexican champions. We became champions of North America and South America as well. And in my time there, my main rivals in the Mexican league became Atlante. And based on my experiences in this save, I assumed Atlante were one of the big teams in Mexico up there with Club America and Pumas and Chivas and so on. But it turns out that's not quite the case. While they do have a long and storied history, it's founded in 1916 and one of the original members of the Mexican League, and they have won 3 Mexican titles. They've even won the CONCACAF Champions League on one occasion. Despite all that, it seems they've never really fitted in. This is a club that's relocated to different parts of Mexico, Mexico City, Cancun, and back to Mexico again. And indeed, they were relegated to the Mexican 2nd tier at the end of the 2014 season, where they've been ever since. So, can you take control of Atlante and take them back to the glory days, which I believed they'd had? Now, if you're in the same circles as I am in terms of Football Manager content creation, during the 2020 cycle, you've probably enjoyed Island Dreams by FM Llama. Well, how about now we focus on some island teams? So the first of 2 island teams on this countdown is Diagoras FC, based on the Greek island of Rhodes. So Diagoras, who wonderfully take their name from an ancient Olympian, a boxer no less, are a team currently playing in the Super League 2, the 2nd tier of the Greek league system. They're also a team that's been around since 1905, so a long and storied history of being big fish on the small island of Rhodes. And it did have a brief period in the top flight in the 1980s after winning the 2nd division in 1986. So can you take this small team from a small island into the Super League and help them punch above their weight? So far we've looked at 3 teams who, while they haven't had much success, do have long histories and potential waiting to be fulfilled. And our next club is very much like that, a team with a long history, but not a history of much success. There's Newcastle.
What? Say that again?
Now, before you get all hoey on me on Tyneside, I should point out that I in fact mean Newcastle Jets. So here you have a team that are not only founding members of the Hyundai A-League, they're one of only 3 teams in that league that existed in its previous iteration of the National Soccer League. But alongside Perth Glory and Adelaide United, Newcastle Jets moved into the A-League when it was formed. However, they haven't exactly been the most successful A-League team. They've never topped the league at the end of the regular season. They have won the playoffs, but only once. And in recent years they've struggled even to get into the playoffs. However, this is a club that is an attraction to some. It's where Michael Bridges finished his career. They count Emil Heskey amongst their icons. And they also count Joe Ledley of Euro 2016 fame amongst their current squad. So if you fancy some time down in sunny New South Wales trying to bring together a bunch of washed up journeyman British players, you could do worse than Newcastle Jets. Now for our next team, we're going to travel far away from the climes of New South Wales, all the way up to Scandinavia as we check in on Österlen in Sweden. Now Österlen are a team with very little history, founded in 2009 with only basic facilities and a very low reputation. And when it comes to competitions, no history at all to speak of. But Österlen are a team who've just been promoted to the Swedish Division 1, which is in fact the 3rd tier of football, which I thought was really confusing until I remembered I'm English and the 3rd tier of football here is called League 1. So a team with a short existence and hardly any history to speak of. What makes this an obscure club that will catch your interest apart from the fact that they're an obscure club? Well, this team from the southern tip of Sweden recently got 15 minutes of fame when they signed Football Manager legend Freddie Adu to their squad for the new season. Yes, that's right, they made a signing right out of Football Manager 2006. The Freddie Adu is going to be playing for Österlen in the Swedish 3rd tier. A career of unfulfilled potential. Freddie himself has said that he's missed many steps along the way and he sees this as a chance to fall back in love with the game. When I was doing my research on this, I found out he's still only 31. So, you've got a chance here to get a good few seasons out of Freddie, see how far you can take him, see how far you can take this club. And for our final club on this countdown, we're going to head to Colombia, a land of veritable milk and honey when it comes to regens in Football Manager. And our club is Real San Andres, a team in the Colombian 2nd tier, and a team with not a huge amount of history, again, only founded in 2018, very basic facilities. So what's the attraction with this particular team? Well, this team, you won't be surprised to find out, is from a place called San Andres. What you might be surprised to find out is that San Andres is actually an island in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. That's right, it's an island in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, but it's territory that is part of Colombia. So starting in the 2nd division, will you accept the challenge of adding a bit of Caribbean flavour to the Colombian leagues, taking them up to the top flight? And maybe, just maybe, you could take this team even further. Imagine if you can take them up into continental competition. You could win the Copa Libertadores with a team that's technically, geographically, not even in South America. So there you have it, 6 obscure clubs and 6 obscure reasons why you might be interested in managing them. Do let me know down in the comments below if any of those clubs take your fancy, or any other obscure clubs that you know of that people might like to manage because they've got a story behind them, because they've got a wacky location, or because of something else in their history. As ever, please don't forget to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm Dodgy Gamer, and I'll see you again soon.